may be or may have in an emergency situation where you require assistance from 911. So you're telling the 911 operator that you don't know. When you say may, you're saying you don't know. This would have been a perfect spot from an investigative standpoint to follow up with questions from the introductions were brought before the courts in relation to a period of time, which was roughly, now don't quote me, I can't remember, it's a period of time roughly about 2 years, their relationship and the time which they spent primarily in Janie's RV on Gerlach Road. So from what investigators have come to learn about the case by way of Malaya has painted a picture where the RCMP have had no choice but to lay charges of SA, assault, and forcible confinement on Daniel. And he's just waiting to be arraigned on March 2nd, an anniversary, 10-month anniversary of the date that they called in Jack and Lily missing. It's staggering that right from the get-go, Malaya said may have. Then she followed that up with the possibly. She blamed it on something that isn't real either, and the possibility of the kids having autism. And they have possible autism. And as a parent, when that comes up and you don't know the other person, you take that into consideration because you don't know any better. Well, come to find out all of this time, the more that we've gotten to learn about Jack and Lily and those who were close to them, that this was just an excuse, one that became favorable in the household due to the apparent neglect and the severe neglect that was going on. It was an excuse to children's aid. And it was primarily used as a shield for people when they asked questions, as opposed to, going through the process and being engaged with your pediatrician and getting the proper recommendation from them to take this to the next step. If you're getting a diagnosis, that would have been your priority as a parent, number one in all of this. And it wasn't. The priority for you guys in all of this was to walk around and use it as a shield, because it's not the first time it's come up. And the way that you've represented it. You see what I did at the end of that last represented? I think there's an extra ED there. The way that you represented it shows that your intent is to shield yourselves from any scrutiny, as though that's a thing, rather than telling people that, there's autism involved and we're just waiting for the diagnosis. Oh no, it's possible autism. What the fuck is that, friends? Are you following? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Do you smell that? That sticks out in my mind so significant in this circumstance, and it's despicable by way of Malaya. She would rather lie than do the right thing by her children. Why is that? Why is that? On May 2nd, 2025, Pictou County RCMP were dispatched to report of a missing child in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. The following is a summary of the dispatch information. Malaya reported her children, Lily and Jack, may have left the residence. May. So you've come out and said it in two different ways now, Malaya, that you don't even believe the words that are coming out of your mouth. What is it you're calling the RCMP for? You want them to come figure out all of your problems, but you want to pretend that you don't know what they are. Lily and Jack may have left the residence and were missing. She said they were both possibly autistic and were known to wander. Oh, how mysterious. Do you have that written down? You should have ad-libbed. She said their boots were gone. She reported them missing at 10:01 and the cops arrived on scene at 10:27. That's it. But there's so much. So that tells you from the get-go, it tells me that she probably wants to believe because she doesn't know as a parent any better, or as an individual. She's ignorant to what ASD is in the first place. No, you probably have to reset. Can anybody else hear me? I thought I see my thing bouncing. Brian, you got to turn your volume up, I hope. Yeah, Sweet Tea hears me. Coming in here. Are you on mute? You fucking douche. Yeah. Just give it a refresh there, Brian. But you probably can't hear me. Anyway, okay. Oh, shit. I'll stay on topic. How about that? Fall for that one all the time. Because it happens sometimes, right? That's why you keep falling for it. Not because you're an idiot. It's the life you have to live with something like Streamlabs. Anyway. So right away, from the get-go, the report to police is off. They don't know. And they want to continue to pretend that they don't know what it was that they were doing, what it was the kids were doing. Just this loose, distanced description of vague audio, just hearing, thinking that you heard the kids in the morning, rather than really any genuine interaction. It's brutal. Shannon, thank you very much, darling. I appreciate that super sticker. I love Daniel's face. Let me put it on mute right here. Can you see that? Oh, Wolf. Hey, check it out, everybody. Look at your screen. Wolfie. Robbie Haynes. Whatever your name is. Daniel Simp. You subscribed. I'm so happy to have you back. Please, could you email me all kinds of your different theories that you have tomorrow? Excellent. Let's see.
Martel is facing charges of sexual assault, and forcible confinement. Martel is the stepfather of missing children Lily and Jack Sullivan. RCMP have confirmed they arrested 34-year-old Martel on Monday. Police say the victim is an adult, but are not providing any more details. Martel was living with Lily, Jack, and their mother when the children went missing from his family home in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia.
Look at that fucking hellhole. Look at that shithole. What happened? What happened? It used to be a half decent place. Respectable, clean. Why is there shit all over the place? Must be the bear. Whatever it is, you guys came up with this weird, wacky idea to pull back all the topsoil. Although that they're quite interesting as well. It's the fact that this is how you answer your questions. This is what happens with when Danny Boy is scrutinized. There's a sensitivity area behind that, and he's protecting himself from not very well. Your answer to all of this, your reasoning, is that she did it to you too. Well, you couldn't get any more dodgy than that. You can't avoid that situation any harder in a more deceptive manner. What does that have to do with the question, Danny? That's what the principal at school will ask you. That's not an excuse. Just because, if you're down here because you punched little Jack, or you punched little Malaya, we'll say, and your answer to all of this is, well, she did it to me too, which, by the way, is something that you've done, Danny. You've brought up to people about how Malaya was starting to get so physically abusive towards you to the end, but as a man, you just don't talk about things like that. But now you want to play the pussy boyfriend role. You want to play the beta male role now all of a sudden when you're under fire. You can't be alpha and play beta. This guy. You wanting everybody to know that he was a victim of physical abuse by way of Malaya in this circumstance, far ahead of everything in some of the communications that he's had by way of individuals that have contacted him.
We both had the same passwords on our phone. And her friends, she blocked her friends on my phone, and she blocked them on her own phone.
Wow, I wonder what the hell blocking has to do with a relationship that two people are in. How are you going to explain that one? Could you imagine him trying to explain this? Why don't you give a TED Talk on this there, Lance Romance? There's no doubt about it that there is an element of misogynistic control in all of this that is raking through. Oh, I'll just bet Malaya was just so possessive of you and your lifestyle that she insisted about blocking people on your phone. You might have told her to do that to make yourself feel better, but I don't believe the story. It's just... look at how you're using it here. You don't have a real answer to it. Your answer to everything is Malaya did that too. Again, with the victim blaming. And when it comes to physical abuse, Malaya would be your victim. Another consistent thing with this asshole. What's going on, Nasty Nathaniel? Y'all! This is a real tell into the type of things that we're going to expect in the future from, if we get anything from old Danny here. But I think that he's coming to realize that it's just not worth giving it up anymore. He's given up so much. How are you going to put that all back in the tickle trunk? How are you going to fix that now? This is what happens, dude. This is why, Danny, primarily when you commit crimes, any crime, even the worst of the worst, which you're guilty of here, which is unaliving on purpose, intentionally unaliving two stepchildren, Danny. Especially when you're guilty, you're going to want to shut up. You're going to want to not do what it is that you're doing in front of the camera. Danny's only narrow-minded rationale behind this is as, you know, when you don't know anything about psychology and you're just getting to learn, maybe you might have heard the term reverse psychology. That's simply what Danny's going with here. In fact, it's not even a real thing. He's just straight lying. Well, look at how open I'm being. Of course I can't be guilty of anything. How could you be guilty? How could you suspect me? The question is there's not one investigator out there that wouldn't be suspecting the people that were last seen with the 2 children who are now missing in the fucking world? Nobody. I mean, that's the whole reason you're an investigator, why you're a detective. But Daniel's priority is, in his intent the entire time, is to create the illusion of there's no reason to suspect him without giving us any genuine information at any point in time. He's camouflaging his absolute 100% suspicious ass, his guilty ass. Maria in Juneau, Alaska. Welcome, my darling. What a fantastic part of the world that sounds like. Oh, does he have his bracelets on, says Helicopter Grandma? He sure does. Kent, you're just such a forethinker. You're like the prince of the missing you're like the prince of the missing children circuit. You should work for the FBI. Julie says, don't underestimate him, how many months he has slithered and tweaked his way around stuff. Thus far, the abuse charges is all they could bring. I seriously hope it's part of a bigger plan. Well, it is. It is. And just simply you can measure that in relation to how you're getting to know about things in the case and how things really are in the case. Things aren't exactly as they appear. And the first person to tell us that was the dude who was doing the deceiving, Danny, on the CBC. Oh, there's so much more to this situation than meets the eye. There's so much more to this case, but I just can't speak on it. Any person who's placing themselves and speaking in a situation like that is hiding information in relation to the most important thing here, which is the whereabouts of Jack and Lily. It doesn't seem like they're a flight risk. Doesn't seem like old Danny's too itchy to get going any which direction. Danny, shouldn't you be about like moseying on down the road right now? Exit stage left. Let's get the hell on up out of here. Great time to move, if you know what I mean. Hey, what's that? Let me get the fuck out of here. You'd be setting off alarms at the border. He can't rip himself away from his addictions at his house. That's what's keeping him there. Everybody knows that. That's the one consistent thing that you can usually rely on with, unless they're international tweakers. Then if they're used to, like, some people, all they do is travel. You know, they don't have a fixed address. They just travel. Danny's not one of those. Danny likes to stay home, get high, stoke the fire, like he's doing right now. Oh yeah, Meep. Janie is going to prison long term. I can't wait till these trials start. Fucking right. It's going to be a pleasure seeing justice come Janie's way. This is a sad case of what true hate really looks like in people's hearts. And it comes down to hating themselves. But Janie and Danny and the crew, you can just detect the level of racism and ignorant way of portraying the situation since the get-go. It's another thing that doesn't get talked about enough. And it all comes from that trifecta of idiots. There is no reason to be incorporating anything else other than the individuals that were there just seconds ago with the kids. And the fact that they want you to think that this happened right in front of them. Somebody came right up there and took the kids from you. But you don't want to say it, Danny. If that really happened, you would be telling everybody from the start. You wouldn't have come to that determination over months of pretend searching in the bushes, bro. See, not once throughout this entire case have any of them prioritized Jack and Lily